Transmigrated as the real young master with millions in the bank, I have no interest in claiming my family. Simply because I know the original plot all too well. The real young master is destined for a tragic end, no matter how hard he tries to fight back. In the end, he's just a stepping stone for that fake young master. Those biological relatives always carry an intelligence-lowering aura. No matter what, they only favor that green tea fake young master. I was just watching a video about this novel at the time. Then I dropped a comment. Let me transmigrate, I'll handle that brat. Who knew my vision would go dark, and it'd end up transmigrated right here? But since I have memories from both lives, I can do anything, so why would I be foolish enough to choose the path of abuse? It's been almost a year since I arrived. I've just been leisurely enjoying life at Father Jiang's shop. Of course, I used some memories from my past life to make a neat little fortune. Just as I was lying down, binge-watching a movie at the climax, a well-dressed old man walked in. Greetings. Young Master Jiang Heng. I am Butler Wang from the Liu family. The master has sent me to bring you home. Before I could even react, a familiar electronic voice echoed in my head. Congratulations, host, for triggering the family recognition sequence. The real versus fake young master deathmatch system has been activated. What? What the hell is this? I've been avoiding this on purpose, yet you've gone and ruined everything. I didn't even care about Butler Wang standing there. Just the system's name is enough to give me a migraine. System, do you have any idea? My current life is so damn blissful. Seeing that I seem to be in a daze, Butler Wang repeated his words once more. Fine, I get it. But Butler Wang, go back and tell that family that. I won't. But before I could finish, my throat felt seized by an invisible energy. The rest of my sentence was physically impossible to speak. Host is required to cooperate in completing the plot. Otherwise, this world will be reset, and you all will be completely erased. Tisk, how obnoxious. I then took a deep breath and told Butler Wang, I understand. I'll go back with you. Over an hour later, the car slowly pulled up in front of a magnificent villa. Butler Wang opened the door and said, Young Master, we have arrived. Master and Madam are already waiting for you inside. With cold eyes, I stopped bickering with the system. Pulling my wandering thoughts together, I said, Lead the way. What I need to calculate right now is how to just perform this damn plot and get it over with. Then I can go back to my carefree life with old man Jiang. Meanwhile, at the Liu family dining table, it's all right, Liu Zixuan. Even if your brother returns, Dad and Mom will still treat you as our biological son. Then, third sister Liu Ruyan also spoke up. Liu Zixuan, don't worry. You'll always be our parents' child. She then turned to her parents and said, Mom, Dad, is it really okay to bring him back? He's been living outside for too long after all. Not to mention he's probably just a crude person who reeks of fish. Now the fake young master starts his act, third sister. That's not Big Brother's fault. My biggest wish right now is just to live in harmony with him. Hearing this, third sister nodded. Liu Zixuan really is the best boy. After all, you're only. But she was cut off. The sound of distinct footsteps immediately drew everyone's attention. Seeing everyone's eyes fixed on me, I was about to walk past Butler Wang to say something. I then glanced around the room. As expected, there was no place set for me. Here we go. The classic trope for the real young master's return. No seat at the table. Actually, there's no way I'm going to just endure this humiliation. Those fake words the little poser just spewed. I heard every single word clearly. Defeat a green tea bitch. One must use a higher level technique. Pure, biting sarcasm. Pausing for a moment, I walked to the table and looked around. It seems you all must be my beloved relatives. But wow, you're all treating me just so wonderfully. On the very first day I'm found and brought back here. Yet not a single soul thought to prepare a single seat for me. On one hand, you're doting on the adopted son. And on the other, for a son you've never even met like me, you have nothing but biased judgments. Wow, what a truly loving family you all are. At my sharp, mocking words, the faces of everyone at the table went through a kaleidoscope of expressions. For a moment, no one knew how to respond. Seeing the atmosphere turn deathly silent, the fake young master sitting nearby hurriedly spoke up. I'm sorry, Big Brother. It's just that usually only the few of us eat here. So for a moment I forgot that I needed to set out an extra chair. That was a classic slap followed by a rub, executed with professional level skill, basically saying, we're a complete family without you. Who's to blame if you suddenly barge in? Upon hearing those words, parents Liu Jiguo and Xia Wanqing felt what little guilt they had begun to fade. At the same time, both shared the same thought, that I was being truly ungrateful. Wait, I recall. Aren't there several sisters in this house too? I directed my gaze toward the innocent-looking Liu Zixuan. Resting my chin on my hand, I asked leisurely, "What's up? Is their relationship with the family that bad? So bad that they don't even bother coming home for dinner. Dealing with fake people doesn't require being faker than them. But you definitely have to be sharper. Don't you want to play the good boy? Let's see if you can keep acting. Once I rip that mask right off your face." Seeing Liu Zixuan cornered, Liu Ruyan immediately glared at me with burning rage. "Shut your mouth. Of course they come home. Our family relationships are excellent. Why are you speaking such nonsense?" I shrugged, feigning innocence. "I was just a bit curious, that's all." Since according to little brother Liu Zixuan, even if they did come home, they have to eat standing up. Right at that moment, the system magged again. "Host, stop being so confrontational. You're just a supporting character, and the kind meant to be bullied and mistreated at that. If you get kicked out of the Liu house now, what will happen to this system's performance record?" "My fate is mine to decide, not heaven's," I replied coldly in my mind. That's right. I used those very words for a sharp rebuttal. According to you, I only need to ensure the plot progresses. As for how it's executed, in your long list of rules, there's no clause forcing me to do it a certain way. Host, you have a point. I didn't even know how to argue back. Xiao Wenxing, seeing that I wouldn't let the matter go, was deeply displeased, but she still spoke up to break the awkward tension. Butler Wang. Quickly, get another chair for the young master. As soon as she finished, a flicker of anticipation appeared in Butler Wang's eyes. He now had a completely new perspective on this newly returned young master. It seems from now on in this house, he and Manny Wu can enjoy watching some great dramas together. After Butler Wang brought the chair, I successfully navigated a trial that every real young master must endure, namely, the family dinner. Afterwards, I quickly finished my steak and the vegetable salad in front of me, then turned to call the maid standing nearby. "Excuse me, is there anything else to eat?" Seeing my cream soup bowl was still almost full, Xiao Wenxing frowned slightly and said, "Haven't you finished that bowl of soup yet? Wasting food is a very shameful thing." I flashed a bright smile at her and began showcasing my traditional sarcasm skills. "My apologies. I have quite an appetite. Don't tell me this house doesn't even let people eat their fill." Sensing a rare opportunity, Liu Zixuan immediately cut in. "Mom, please don't blame Big Brother. He's lived such a hard life outside for all these years. So naturally, he wants to eat more of the things he's never tasted before. It's only to be expected." After hearing this, Xiao Wenxing looked disappointed and looked away. Away from me. She then signaled the maid with her eyes. Her impression of me in her heart dropped several notches further. Well, fake brats always seem to be better liked, don't they? Noticing the change in Xiao Wenxing's gaze, I truly feel like everyone in this house has something wrong with their head. They can't even see through such blatant hypocrisy. But right now, I can't be bothered to argue. Filling my empty stomach is the top priority. Half an hour later, once I had devoured the last piece of crab meat, Xiao Wan, Xing finally turned to speak to Liu Zixuan. "Liu Zixuan, show your brother to his room." Even if her first impression of me wasn't great, we are still related by blood after all. By having Liu Zixuan lead the way, she wanted to create a chance for the two of us to bond. Let's see, will he frame me for hitting him in a moment? Or maybe claim I pushed him down the stairs. Though my mind was calculating every possibility, I kept a radiant smile plastered on my face. Then I'll trouble my little brother to lead the way. Hearing my tone, which sounded like I was ordering a servant around, Liu Zixuan immediately put on a pitiful look and turned to Xiao Wenxing, as if me speaking to him in that tone were some unpardonable, heinous crime. Seeing this, Xiao Wenxing frowned slightly. "Jiang Heng, you're the older brother. How can you speak to your younger brother like that? Does she seriously have brain damage or something? What's wrong with the way I'm speaking?" Despite my thoughts, I couldn't be bothered to waste my breath arguing with this green tea brat. Following the classic real versus fake young master motif, if I even say one word in my defense, it'll inevitably be dragged through the mud and scolded even worse. And right about then, that fake young master will pop up again to suck up to everyone. Thinking of this, I immediately decided to give him a taste of his own medicine. "Everything is my fault. Please, young master, lead the way. This humble servant truly doesn't know where the room is." Upon hearing my words, the couple suddenly felt something was very off. By blood, I am their biological son. Now that I'm calling myself a servant, doesn't that make the two of them? Fine, fine. Liu Zixuan, take your brother up to his room. Looking at my aggrieved face, Liu Zhiguo's tone rarely softened slightly. John Heng. You as well, there's no need to be so formal from now on. After all, this is your home too. Sensing the undeniable authority in those words, Liu Zixuan understood that continuing to play the victim would be useless, so he dejectedly led me up to the second floor. But once we set foot on the second floor, he didn't take me straight to my room. Instead, he started droning on, introducing the layout of every single room, especially when he showed off his private gaming room, and his study room as well. His triumphant look seemed to shout, "I am the real young master of this house," right across his face. Seeing him about to brag more about his bedroom, I reached out and slammed the door shut. That's enough bragging. Where's my room? I don't have time for your nonsense. These psychological tactics only work on the weak-minded. Too bad I'm not one of them. In my eyes, his behavior was no different from a stray dog pissing on the street to mark its territory. You should never have come back here. You should have just rotted away in that slum instead. Seeing that I had already torn off his mask, he didn't even bother pretending anymore. His face was etched with pure, condescending disdain. As far as Mom and Dad are concerned, I am the only real young master of this family. What an idiot. I'm just asking where my damn room is. Just as he was about to talk back, loud footsteps suddenly echoed from the stairs. I'll show you who the truly important person in this house is. After saying that, he didn't hesitate to raise his right hand and delivered a powerful slap to his own face. Simultaneously, he stumbled and threw himself onto the floor. Wow, he's certainly ruthless to himself. Looking at the swelling, bright red handprint on his cheek, I simply folded my arms across my chest. With an indifferent look as if watching a play, I turned toward the stairs. Immediately, a figure rushed up the stairs and threw themselves by his side. Liu Zixuan, are you okay? Seeing the supporting cast in position, Liu Zixuan, sprawled on the ground, immediately began his stellar performance. Second sister, am fine. Big brother, I know you resent me for taking your life. If hitting me helps you vent your anger, then please keep hitting me. But it's all my fault. Please don't take it out on the rest of the family. My, quite the performance. It would be a waste of talent if he didn't become a professional actor. While I was engrossed in enjoying Liu Zixuan's drama, Liu Rumo suddenly stood up. Then she whipped her head around, glaring at me with bone-chilling eyes. What right do you have to hit someone? Didn't your parents ever teach you family manners? Humph, I think Mom and Dad made a mistake bringing you back. As she spoke, seeing her about to charge and give me a thunderous slap. Hey, hitting people isn't nice. I swiftly grabbed Liu Rumo's wrist. My earlier playful expression instantly vanished without a trace. How can you be so certain that I was the one who hit him? Fine, if you all want to play this game, then I'll play along with this brat until the very end. With her wrist held firmly in my grip, Liu Rumo screamed in a fit of rage. Let me go this instant. Only you and Liu Zixuan were here. Do you expect us to believe there was a third person? Because of the loud commotion, everyone else downstairs came rushing up to see what was happening. In the blink of an eye, all eyes were fixed on Liu Zixuan lying on the floor. Liu Zixuan! Liu Zixuan! Seeing the entire Liu family gathered, Liu Zixuan's face immediately contorted into an expression of utter pathetic misery. Dad, Mom, third sister, Jiang Heng, why did you hit Liu Zixuan like this? Seeing the handprint clearly marked on Liu Zixuan's face, whatever guilt Xiao Wangqing felt for me vaporized completely, leaving only profound disappointment. Hist, don't jump to conclusions so fast. I let go of Liu Rumo's hand, turned my gaze to the side, where Liu Ruyan stood, grit her teeth, and glared at me. I recall third sister is quite a veteran actress, isn't she? Don't call me third sister, you violent beast. Liu Ruyan snapped with a look of pure disgust. What does me being an actress have to do with you hitting Liu Zixuan? Hold on, I said don't judge so quickly. Isn't that right? Liu Ruyan, looking at her face which looked like she wanted to pounce and slap me, I continued leisurely, as a professional actress, you should know that in a slap scene, if you slap yourself, the thumb will point toward the ear, but if someone else slaps you, the thumb points toward the mouth. As soon as I spoke, every pair of eyes in the room involuntarily shifted to Liu Zixuan's face, They say onlookers see more of the game than the players, but after I pointed it out, her gaze toward Liu Zixuan suddenly flickered with a trace of doubt and scrutiny. It was only then that she realized with a shock that she might have never truly understood this younger brother. And her unexpected reaction actually caused the others, as they looked toward Liu Zixuan, to develop more than a few doubts. However, what I didn't expect was that someone remained so utterly naive at this moment. Liu Rumo still wore a face full of anxiety. She was half kneeling on the floor, her eyes brimming with pity for the fragile Liu Zixuan. Damn it, how can this country bumpkin be so knowledgeable? Sensing everyone's eyes fixed on him, now filled with suspicion, Liu Zixuan hurriedly cried out, "Big brother, I know you hate me, but no matter how much you hit or scold me, why must you be so cruel as to frame me like this?" A hypocrite's tears truly fall on command. I have to admit this tactic is incredibly effective. Except for Liu Ruyan, everyone else present couldn't help but show a flicker of apology in their eyes. Enough, enough, enough. I immediately cut off Liu Zixuan's dramatic act. I didn't want to waste any more time on useless arguments. I stepped forward and grabbed Liu Ruyan's arm. "Take me to the surveillance room right now." Based on the usual trope in the original plot, as soon as someone mentions checking the CCTV, the fake young master's lackeys will quickly move to erase the footage. Therefore, I must act swiftly. Liu Ruyan thought for a moment and then replied, "Fine. I'll go with you." After hearing me make such a direct request, doubt had also begun to sprout in her heart. Because if I were really the one who did it, I would never be so foolish as to make such a disadvantageous proposal. Regardless, the surveillance cameras provide the most undeniable proof of the truth. If it's convenient for everyone, then let's all go take a look. Seeing Liu Ruyan nod in agreement, I glanced at the people standing around. My dear, beloved family members, don't tell me that you don't even have the courage to look at the truth on camera. Fine, then everyone will go. Liu Zhiguo spoke in a low voice. "Liu Zixuan, you come along too. If you are truly innocent, then I will surely demand justice for you." Hearing the whole family agree to check the CCTV, Liu Zixuan's body began to tremble uncontrollably. Just a moment ago, he was planning to secretly signal his lackeys. Who would have thought that a country bumpkin like me would act completely outside of his expectations? But very quickly, he devised an extremely cunning plan. After making an effort to appear as though he were trying to get up, he suddenly collapsed to the floor and faked a faint on the spot. Liu Zixuan, seeing him lose consciousness, the people who were about to leave, stopped immediately in a panic. At this point, Liu Rumo turned and screamed at me. "You definitely hit Liu Zixuan until he became unconscious." Oh boy, he certainly chose the perfect time to faint. I completely ignored those groundless insults and decided to perform another act of charity by providing them with some basic medical knowledge. Try tickling some of his sensitive spots. If his muscles remain limp, then he's truly unconscious. Or if that's too much trouble, try blowing hard into his eyes. If a person is genuinely in a coma, no matter how much you blow, the pupils will never react. After listening to my little knowledge lecture, everyone shifted their attention back to Liu Zixuan at once. At the same time, Liu Zixuan's heart couldn't help but pound wildly in his chest. He was cursed non-stop in his mind. Damn it, how can this lowly country bumpkin know so many tricks? As for me, seeing the servant trying to sneak away, I immediately interjected. All right. If you're still worried, call a doctor, but let's get going. And just afraid that if we're too late, the cameras might have a sudden malfunction. Hearing this, Xiao Wanqing standing nearby frowned instinctively. What? Are you suspecting that this family is conspiring against you? Well, I can't help it. After all, I've only just arrived. Having finished speaking to Xiao Wanqing, decisively grabbed her arm and pulled her along, dragging Liu Ruyan along with her, heading toward the servant who had tried to slip away earlier. If you're skeptical too, then why not come with me and see it with your own eyes? Liu Ruyan alone doesn't have enough influence to move the entire Liu household. But with the presence of the lady of the house, Xiao Wanqing, it's definitely enough. And when he saw both his wife and third daughter being dragged away by me, Liu Zhiguo, fearing my aggressive side might flare up again, had to hurriedly scramble after us. In an instant, the quiet hallway was left with only Liu Rumo busy on the phone, and Liu Zixuan still lying motionless on the floor. Afterwards, guided by Liu Ruyan, we reached the surveillance room. From a considerable distance, we immediately spotted a figure lurking, about to push the door open to enter the room. Oh look, wasn't this guy just at the scene? What business do you have in the surveillance room at this hour? Seeing a group of people suddenly appearing out of nowhere, the servant looked extremely awkward and swallowed hard. Ah, master, madam, young master, miss. Witnessing his stuttering and hesitant demeanor, the three Liu family members exchanged meaningful glances. They all noticed the clear shock in each other's eyes. Humph. Stay right where you are. After giving the servant a sharp, threatening glare, Liu Zhiguo took decisive strides straight into the surveillance room. Show me the second floor footage after 12 o'clock immediately. Seeing the head of the house in a towering rage, none of the surveillance room staff dared to utter a word. They quickly extracted the footage and began replaying the video. Watching the footage start from 7 p.m., I leisurely sat in a nearby chair with a relaxed expression. Then spoke, just skip ahead to 12:15 to save time. Of course, if you all really want to admire Liu Zixuan's peak performance, then feel free to watch from the beginning. I won't object. Anyway, even if this footage has issues, I still have other backup plans. The only thing I need to think about right now is what trick the faking unconscious Liu Zixuan will pull next. According to the typical style of the original novel, I suspect that in just a moment, some fake medical report is likely to show up. No need to play it at double speed. The unusual appearance of that servant earlier had caused Xiao Wanqing, who always favored Liu Zixuan, to start having seeds of doubt in her mind. Now she truly wanted to witness with her own eyes what exactly this performance I mentioned was like. Time passed slowly as the footage rolled. The expressions on their faces gradually became extremely strange and unsightly. The video showed him leading me upstairs and walking through all the rooms, and especially whenever he stopped in front of those private rooms. He deliberately acted superior, as if he were the true master. If he were merely afraid that my return would shake his status and power within the family, then that could perhaps be someone understood. However, the subsequent dialogue between the two of us completely shattered the image of a well-behaved and sensible Liu Zixuan that had been deeply ingrained in their minds. And that final scene where he directed and acted out slapping himself was caught by the Liu family's eyes without missing a single detail. Now, with such a series of events as a foundation, the three of them naturally no longer believed that Liu Zixuan really fainted. My dear family, this is the absolute truth. Watching the video end, I said to Liu Ruyan half-jokingly, "Did you see that, Nuna? This is what you call getting into character in a split second. You really need to study this carefully." Although I said that, I was actually prepared to call the police. After all, given the personality traits in the original plot, even with such clear evidence, these relatives would surely still be biased toward the other side. However, to my surprise, Liu Ruyan nodded in agreement. "Little brother, you're right. I truly still have much to learn. Also, am sorry, I misunderstood you." On the other side, Xiao Wanqing also grabbed my wrist, her face full of remorse. "Xiao Heng, am sorry. I shouldn't have doubted you." As for Liu Zhiguo, though he didn't say a word, I caught every bit of that regretful look on his face. What's going on? Looking at them, it seems they've come to their senses, but according to the original story, shouldn't these relatives be biased to the extreme? Whatever, can you guys lead me to my room now? After gently patting Xiao Wenqing's arm, I signaled that I was okay. Then I pointed at the suitcase and smiled. It's not that heavy, but carrying it all this way is quite a bother. Their change of heart benefits me, so naturally, I won't bother with those troublesome things anymore. And during this time, if Liu Zixuan still wants to act up like today and keep causing trouble, then I'll let him taste what a total beatdown feels like. Yes, let mother take you to your room right away. While speaking, Xiao Wanqing turned to the servant beside her. Take the young master's luggage up to his room. Liu Zhiguo, seeing the matter settled, spoke to everyone. All right, let's go together. As the head of the family, he couldn't bow and apologize to me on the spot, like the other two. However, in his heart, he already had another plan for compensation. But after this, he realized an adopted son is just an adopted son. The story of the farmer and the snake is true. Some people truly never change. Just as they were about to leave, a servant rushed over. "Master, madam, the doctor has arrived." But young Master Zixuan still hasn't woken up. So the second young lady asked me to invite you over to see him. Then let's go see. As he spoke, Liu Zhiguo's face darkened. Before I could settle the score with him, he jumped out himself. Let's see what he's up to. Looking at the servant leading the way, Jian Heng spoke to the pensive Liu Ruyan beside him. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Nuna, do you want to make a bet? Of the three people present, only Liu Ruyan was of the same generation as him, so she was naturally the most suitable person to bet with. A bet. Seeing Jiang Heng still grinning, Liu Ruyan asked curiously, "What do you want to bet on?" After discarding her preconceived stereotypes and no longer using a biased gaze to judge him, Liu Ruyan also began to feel a strong interest in this younger brother of hers. At least compared to a two-faced person like Liu Zixuan, he didn't hide or sneak around in anything he did. Hearing their conversation, Liu Zhiguo and Xiao Wenqing also secretly pricked up their ears. They also wanted to see what kind of this son of theirs was planning. It's simple. After the two agreed on the bet, the group, led by the servant, went to Liu Zixuan's room. Right now, Liu Zixuan was in a coma, lying motionless on the bed, and right beside him was a female doctor, about 25 or 26, whose beauty could be rated at 90 points, exuding a gentle and tender aura from her entire being. If nothing unexpected happened, she was likely the Liu family's private doctor, and if Jiang Heng guessed right, with such looks and temperament, she was probably some kind of gentle supporting female character. Of course, this speculation would have to wait till she announced Liu Zixuan's condition before it could be confirmed for sure. However, before the female doctor could even speak, Liu Rumo, who was anxiously waiting by Liu Zixuan's bed, spoke up first. "Father, why did you let this guy come here? If it weren't for him, be quiet." Looking at his second daughter, who insisted on blaming Jiang Heng for everything, Liu Jiguo frowned slightly. "He's also your younger brother. Also, how is Zixuan's condition?" "Mr. Liu, young Master Zixuan's condition is not very good." Hearing about Liu Zixuan's illness, the family doctor immediately told everyone. "In my judgment, young Master Zixuan's condition is due to accumulated anxiety, coupled with external force to the cheekbone, resulting in a mild concussion. The combination of these two causes led to cerebral ischemia and fainting." Tisk, tisk, tisk. Isn't it exactly as I guessed? In an instant, everyone's eyes were fixed on Jiang Heng, who was standing next to Liu Ruyan, and the expressions of Liu Zhiguo and the other two immediately became unnatural, because the details Jiang Heng had just wagered on were exactly what the family doctor had diagnosed. He even said she would surely use excuses like illness from anxiety, mood swings, and facial trauma leading to a concussion. Ailments that couldn't be verified without using medical machinery. "You must be the young master who just returned, right?" Seeing Jiang Heng's relaxed and composed manner, Li Zhueqin pushed the frame of her glasses on her nose and said seriously, "I didn't expect that someone your age, the same as young Master Zixuan, would know so much. I just picked it up from the village veterinarian. I wouldn't say I know much." Choking on Jiang Heng's words, Li Zhueqin pushed her glasses again. "Then I hope you won't doubt my professionalism. After all, I am at least a graduate of a top medical school." Her words were still very gentle and mild, but every syllable exuded a sense of disdain for Jiang Heng. She's definitely on Liu Zixuan's side. After making a clear judgment, Jiang Heng decided to go on the offensive, for if he let Liu Zixuan get away with faking a faint, trouble after trouble would surely follow. Wasn't his biological second Nuna already looking at him with a murderous gaze? "Ah, so you're such a great doctor. But the village vet just happened to teach me a method that can be used immediately to determine if livestock have actually fainted during mating." As he spoke, Jiang Heng pulled a feather out of a feather duster he had taken from a servant. "I think a graduate from a prestigious school like you wouldn't mind if I tried to see if I can wake up my dear brother Zixuan, right?" "Don't!" Seeing Jiang Heng about to make a move on Liu Zixuan, Liu Rumo tried to rush forward to stop him, but her hand was held tight by Liu Ruyan beside her. As for Li Sueqin, she also intended to step forward, but was immediately pinned in place by a gaze from Liu Zhiguo. Thus, Jiang Heng walked grandly to Liu Zixuan's bedside without any hindrance and threw off the blanket with one hand. "Little brother, you really should go wash your feet." Because he had been so tense earlier, Liu Zixuan's body was drenched in cold sweat. Wrapped tightly in socks and a blanket, the scent now was truly a bit pungent. Hearing Jiang Heng's disdainful tone, Liu Zixuan's psychological state completely collapsed. You could already imagine the disgusted looks the Liu family members were giving him. But before he could even curse, Jiang Heng in his mind, the boy started using the feather to tickle the soles of his feet repeatedly. In an instant, Liu Zixuan felt like a swarm of ants was crawling on his soles, making him almost burst out laughing. But he knew very well he mustn't show any weakness, otherwise today would be very hard to end well. So, he had to use all his willpower to tense his muscles, grit his teeth, and stubbornly refuse to let out a single sound. "That's about enough. Mother, come over here." Feeling had teased enough, Jiang Heng winked at Xiao Wenqing standing nearby. "Do you remember what I just explained to you?" It wasn't that he didn't want a gesture for her to come over. It was just that the smell was truly too overpowering. He had to save his hands to plug his nose. If those feet marinated any longer, they'd probably be pungent enough to make a professional foot washer weep. Hearing this, Xiao Wanqing nodded slightly and slowly walked to Liu Zixuan's side. Holding back the scent that could drive anyone away, she reached out and pressed on his biceps. Feeling a muscle state completely different from normal, she turned to look at Liu Zhiguo and nodded with a grim expression. Everyone knows that once a human body is in a coma, all muscles become limp. But right now, to keep from laughing, Liu Zixuan had to tense every muscle in his body. This distinct, palpable difference was exposed the very moment Xiao Wanqing touched him and was revealed immediately. After receiving Xiao Wanqing's confirmation, Liu Zhiguo's face darkened. Zixuan, how long do you plan to keep faking it? I'll give you 3 seconds. If you don't get up, don't blame me for kicking you out of the Liu house. Hearing these words, it was like thunder in Liu Zixuan's heart. But he also knew clearly that if he sat up now, everything would go up in smoke. So he made up his mind and just continued to lie there playing dead. Father, what are you saying? Seeing the situation, Liu Rumo, still unaware of the truth, immediately turned her gaze toward Jiang Heng. And you put that feather away. As soon as she spoke, she tried to rush over to snatch it. Seeing this, Jiang Heng took the opportunity to play along with her scheme, and the moment she lunged, he tilted his body to dodge. At the same time, the feather in his hand accidentally fell right in front of Liu Zixuan's nose. The pungent foot odor plus his high-strung nerves made Liu Zixuan unable to hold back for a moment, and that smell caused him to vomit uncontrollably. And this sudden scene caused everyone's eyes to focus on Liu Zixuan simultaneously. Even Liu Rumo, who had just tried to rush forward to snatch the feather, instinctively widened her eyes, her face showing clear disbelief. This is a symptom of a mild concussion. Seeing the situation go south, Li Shuiqin immediately began to divert attention. Master Jianheng, you are being far too much. How could you be so heavy-handed? However, Li Shuiqin didn't notice that. The moment she finished speaking, everyone except Liu Rumo had the same expression on their faces. Liu Zixuan is finished. How can she still be defending him? Liu Zhiguo, Xiao Wanqing, and Liu Ruyan indeed saw that it was just as I said. These two clearly have some shady business going on. What a pig-like teammate. It's not my fault. Thinking this, Jiang Heng pulled out his phone and opened a map right in front of everyone. Since Dr. Li is so certain that Brother Zixuan has a concussion, it's best we take a trip to the hospital for an exam. I happen to see that there's a top-tier hospital, about 3 kilometers from our house. Let's just drive him there directly. Although Liu Zixuan's self-directed act had caused his image in the Liu family's eyes to plummet, Jian Heng knew clearly that, according to the tropes of real versus fake young master stories, if he didn't take this chance to deal a fatal blow, then in just a few days he might be right back to his old ways. Anyway, now that the 3 Liu family members know the truth, since they haven't exposed Liu Zixuan on the spot yet, it seems 3 of them also intend to see what kind of game he's going to play next. As for this Li Zueqin, if she's allowed to stay in the Liu house, who knows what other dirty tricks she'll come up with. So this time, at least he had to kick out Li Zueqin, the private doctor who was biased toward Liu Zixuan. Get rid of her. Seeing Jiang Heng not following the usual script and demanding a hospital visit, this time not only was Liu Zixuan panicked, but even Li Zueqin, who always kept a calm and professional demeanor before everyone, also began to scramble. Did she not know whether Liu Zixuan was sick or not? Concussions, illness from anxiety, all of it was fake. They actually went to a top-tier hospital for an exam. Liu Zixuan's fake fainting would be completely exposed. And once this came to light, she feared she would also be heavily implicated. Father, mother, I'm really okay. Holding back the unease and fear in his heart, Liu Zixuan looked at them with teary eyes and said, "It's late at night. There's no need to go through all this trouble. It's enough to have Dr. Li here." Actually, he had originally planned to just kneel down and apologize, but after seeing the servant who edited the video nod signaling him, he immediately changed his decision, intending to keep faking it until the end. Doing this could show his tolerance, and later, if no illness was found, he could use the excuse that he didn't know as a final defense. After all, he's not a doctor. How could he know if there was really something wrong with his body? But he had overlooked one important point. Why, after watching the video, Jian Heng, who should have been punished, was still standing there unscathed? Young Master Zixuan, I'm sorry. Every man for himself, or let the heavens strike him down. Please take care. Noticing the sudden shift in Liu Zixuan's attitude, the 3 Liu family members stole a glance at the servant standing nearby, having already made up their minds. Concussion is no small matter. Going to the hospital is absolutely necessary. Wenqing took a step forward and, after throwing off the blanket on Liu Zixuan, she said in a tone that allowed no argument, "Get up now. We're taking you there." She truly wanted to see how much longer this adopted son of hers intended to keep up this charade. If it weren't for her husband intentionally letting that servant play along, perhaps she really would have had no way of seeing through his true face. "Mother, it's really not necessary to go through the trouble." Although in his heart you wanted to agree immediately, but Liu Zixuan still tried to act like he was always thinking of the family. "Zixuan, you should still go to the hospital for a checkup. It's also to prove your innocence." As the only person at the scene who still didn't know the truth, Liu Rumo actually still placed all her trust in Liu Zixuan. In her simple mind, she only thought that he didn't want to make everyone work hard and feared ruining harmony, which is why he refused to go to the hospital. "Ha ha ha, what a good Nuna of mine." Thinking this to himself, a look of great awkwardness was intentionally shown on Liu Zixuan's face. "Never mind, it's late, maybe we shouldn't go." He was waiting for the moment the Liu family would vent all their rage onto Jiang Heng. Only then would he tend to reluctantly agree to the exam. This Nuna of mine might be a bit dim-witted. But these two assists were performed quite well. Seeing the fleeting smugness in Liu Zixuan's eyes, Jiang Heng had to try very hard not to burst out laughing. "Just wait until he's about to get into the car. I still have a big gift to give him." Perhaps the only person who was truly anxious here was Li Shuiqin. If the misdiagnosis and cover-up were exposed, one word from Liu Zhuguo, and she could forget about ever practicing medicine in Jinhai City again. Thinking of this, she immediately spoke up to everyone. "Since we decided to go for an exam, why don't I drive everyone to Pangdahai high-end private hospital? The medical equipment there is more advanced and can check your health condition in the best way possible." "I don't think that's necessary, Dr. Li. How would I know if that hospital was opened by you yourself or not?" A single sentence from Jiang Heng blocked Li Shuiqin's way out. Jiang Heng casually answered his phone. "Yes, all right. We'll bring the patient down right away." After hanging up, he turned to the people present. "The ambulance is already downstairs. Let's take Brother Zixuan down. It's really not necessary to go through such trouble." Hearing the ambulance had arrived, Liu Zixuan pursed his lips, looking at Jiang Heng with tearful eyes. Although he didn't say a word, he perfectly portrayed the even if beaten. "I don't want to implicate you, look. Or not. It's just a small matter." While speaking, Jiang Heng grinned and brought his phone screen to a video that was already playing. "Actually, I'm very curious. How did you manage to slap yourself into a concussion?" The moment he saw that video, Liu Zixuan's face instantly turned pale, and his heart couldn't help but pound. Before this video was released, even if the exam showed nothing was wrong, it wouldn't have mattered much. But if this video still exists, and the exam results turn out perfectly normal, then the situation will take a completely different turn. Thinking of this, he no longer cared about maintaining that pitiful and wretched expression, but spoke up in a panic. "I don't need an exam. I'm really fine." "Oh, it's too late for that, little brother. Men, get him into the ambulance, now." Upon the command, the servants, after confirming Liu Zhuguo had no intention of stopping them, sent out several burly men to carry Liu Zixuan straight downstairs. I really was mistaken before. Watching Liu Zixuan struggling frantically, Liu Zhuguo glanced at Li Shuiqin, who had an extremely unsightly expression, and then turned to leave the room. "All settled then. I'm going back to my room too." Seeing everything resolved, Jiang Heng smiled and waved goodbye to his Nuna, then followed his servant back to his private room. After finishing packing his things, he would go fulfill the promise of the bet with Liu Zhuguo's family of 3. And just as Jiang Heng was heading to his bedroom, Liu Ruyan also pulled Liu Rumo to the surveillance room for a visit. She felt it was necessary to clear everything up first. Oh ho. At least this room isn't a dark basement or some air conditioning storage room. Under the servant's guidance to his room, Jiang Heng set his suitcase aside directly. Compared to the basements or understair closets, in traditional real versus fake young master stories, his treatment could be said to be at the maximum level. The entire room was divided into a computer room, a dressing room, a bathroom, and a king-size bed. It could only be said that this room wasn't anything too special, but it had no flaws either, fitting the standards of a boy Jiang Heng's age. Tisk, tisk, tisk. But I didn't expect that. These nominal parents and sisters of mine could change sides so quickly. Lying on his back on the bed for a while, Jiang Heng, filled with questions, called out to the system he had been ignoring until now. "Confirming with you one last time. I only need to show up in places where the plot involves me, right?" "System, yes." Facing this host with an innate rebellious nature, it also had no other choice. Earlier, when Jiang Heng was unleashing a torrent of abuse at Liu Zixuan, it almost crushed the alarm button. If it weren't for the fact that Jiang Heng's behavior didn't violate rule number 10,086 of the code, it would have used system power to stop him long ago. Every time it thought about Jiang Heng's unscripted maneuvers just now, the system immediately felt a splitting headache. But with a service-first motto, it still issued a well-deserved reward. Congratulations, host, on completing the mission. You have successfully reunited with the great Liu family of the Jiangnan region, and you have smoothly moved into the Liu family villa. Reward, master-level skills, and a mixed martial arts system. The moment the voice faded, John Hung felt a slight itch in his head. Oh boy, it feels like I'm about to get a whole lot smarter. Almost in the blink of an eye, a flood of knowledge suddenly appeared in his mind regarding mixed martial arts. There was traditional martial arts, Sanshou, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Bajiquan, and all sorts of other combat skills. And even, the legendary 5-point lightning whips were ended. You're actually giving me real combat skills. His physical condition felt exactly the same as before. I mean, it was literally identical. John Hung pouted a bit in disappointment. Well, he usually trained hard anyway, so he could already pull off most of these martial arts moves. After digesting the massive memories that had suddenly popped into his head, he stuffed his few pieces of clothing into the wardrobe, then grabbed his suitcase and turned to head out. Jiang Heng, where are you going? Just as Jiang Heng carried his suitcase down to the first-floor living room, he ran into Liu Ruyan, who was leading Liu Rumo out of the surveillance room. Can't find your room. Let me show you the way. It's fine. I'm planning to go home for a bit. After giving Liu Ruyan a small shake of his head, Jiang Heng prepared to take his suitcase and keep walking out. All right, our bet is still on, isn't it? Of course it is. Hearing the bet mentioned, Liu Ruyan immediately understood his intention. Let me drive you there. It's going to be hard to catch a ride at this hour. Take my car. Yours only has 2 seats. At that moment, Liu Rumo, standing beside them, suddenly spoke up to Jiang Heng. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. It's fine, we're family now, don't worry about it. Seeing Liu Rumo bowing her head deep in shame, Jiang Heng smiled and waved it off. Now that everything is clear, let's just let it go. Although he was quite surprised these nominal relatives realized their mistakes so quickly, he wasn't about to waste time playing out some overbearing CEO revenge fantasy. After all, having one more supporter was an extra guarantee for him to live a carefree life in this place. Heng, seeing Jiang Heng forgive her so easily, a look of surprise flashed across Liu Rumo's face, instantly turning into deep emotion. In the past, when she accidentally made Liu Zixuan angry, it took so much effort and months of cutting back her spending just to appease him. Comparing them like this, it really was like night and day. And besides, thinking about it now, was I really wrong for stopping someone from entering while I was changing? There's nothing wrong with that. It's safe to say that after escaping her old mindset, Liu Rumo, like the others in the house, was finally starting to use her brain. So, can we go now? Looking at Liu Rumo's eyes shining like stars, Jiang Heng couldn't tell for a second if this girl was just naive or extremely naive. Why does it feel like I haven't even done anything, yet she's already completely under my spell? Let's go, let me carry the suitcase for you. As she spoke, Liu Rumo snatched the suitcase from Jiang Heng's hand, grabbed my arm, and dragged me toward the main entrance. Hey. It wasn't until they had walked a good distance that the abandoned Liu Ruyan finally snapped out of it. The little brother she just accepted, how was he suddenly stolen from her? So I was kind enough to show you the truth, and you, Liu Rumo, dare to compete with me for our brother. Xiao Heng, wait for me. Thinking that, she used her long legs to quickly catch up with them. No matter what, she couldn't let Liu Rumo have their brother all to herself. Over an hour later, at the small fish stall in the old neighborhood, Old Man Jiang, hey Old Man Jiang. Your boy Heng is really something. While Jiang B was worrying about whether Jiang Heng could adapt over there, an urgent shout pulled him back to reality. Looking at the middle-aged woman panting for breath in front of him, Jiang B asked hurriedly, "What happened to my Heng?" That boy just brought back 2 gorgeous girls. After catching her breath, looking less frantic, the matchmaker Wang Podang said excitedly, "We've known each other for so many years. Later tell Heng to introduce the other girl to me, okay?" As the famous matchmaker of this market, seeing such great beauties, how could she not be interested? If she hadn't seen how expensive their car was, and feared being rude by asking them directly, she wouldn't have bothered running here to find Jiang Bihe. girls, and two of them. After hearing Mrs. Wang's story, Jiang B had just felt a massive headache coming on. That little brat, he was just picked up this noon, and by the afternoon, he's already turned into some playboy bringing home flowers and moonlight. Thinking this, he silently pulled out his 7 wolves belt from his waist. Today, he had to show this little rascal the meaning of being faithful from start to finish. Meanwhile, Jiang Heng had no idea that fatherly love was about to strike as I helplessly looked at the 2 girls standing before me with hesitant faces. At this time, at the market entrance, Jiang Heng was completely unaware that he was about to receive a burning fatherly embrace as he turned his head to look at his 2 sisters wandering behind him. I said, maybe you 2 should just wait here. The market is quiet now, but in places like this, they usually wait until all the stalls are closed to clean up properly. So the hygiene on the ground right now is admittedly a bit poor. While it wasn't quite no place to step, the 2 Lu sisters truly had never set foot in a place like this before. The floor was soaking wet and a bit sticky, with fish scales and guts scattered around, bits of crabs and shrimp everywhere, and in the seafood section, every now and then, a hose would spray out all sorts of miscellaneous things. Add to that the fact that it's currently the hottest time of day, so obviously, the air here was naturally not very fresh. Looking at the filthy and messy market environment, Lu Rumo, who had never stepped into such a place, felt only a deep heartache. It was clear that her brother's past life was so difficult, yet before today, she had actually thought about kicking him out of the house. As for an actress like Liu Ruyin, even though her adaptability was a bit higher than Liu Rumo's, she was still shocked by this realistic scene. After all, the sets built by film crews and the actual reality of everyday life still have a huge gap between them. At the very least, that pungent smell of rotting seafood lingering in the air was something she had never smelled before. No need. Let's go in together. Suppressing her discomfort, Liu Rumo stubbornly shook her head. If her brother could live in this environment for so long, what was wrong with her walking with him for a while? Let's go in together. Hearing that, Liu Ruyen also nodded in agreement. Might as well pay the uncle a visit too. All right, as long as you 2 don't mind. Seeing that neither of them had any objections, Jiang Heng obviously didn't say anything more. After winding through some alleys, they stopped in front of a decrepit fish stall. This is the place. Before his words even finished, a furious voice erupted from inside the stall. You little rascal! I haven't seen you all afternoon and you've already become this depraved. If I don't discipline you today, I'll take your surname instead. Seeing Jiang Bi rushing out aggressively with his 7 wolves belt, Jiang Heng instinctively bolted in the opposite direction. Don't, old man. Even if you don't discipline me, we already share the same surname. Scram, you brat, you dare talk back. This is for you not learning good things at your age. Coming home after just 1 afternoon and learning how to flirt with girls. What flirting? What are you talking about? Don't you know exactly what you're doing? Oh God, I'm more wrong than do-e. Still talking nonsense. Witness my 7 wolves lightning whips. Over 10 minutes later, in the room on the 2nd floor of the small fish stall. Tisk, old man, can't you just let me explain clearly? While rubbing his bottom that felt like it had split into 8 pieces, Jiang Heng looked at the calmly tea-sipping Jiang Bi with a resentful face. I was kind enough to come pick you up, and look at you, giving me the lightning whips as soon as we met. Who told you not to explain yourself from the start? Jiang Bi ignored his pained expression and turned to look at the 2 girls sitting silently nearby. This brat didn't cause any trouble for you 2, did he? By now, through Jiang Heng's explanation, he understood the whole situation. Therefore, he knew that these 2 were actually Jiang Heng's biological sisters. No, not at all. Zhao Heng is very well behaved. Remembering the scene of Jiang Heng mocking her and Liu Zixuan earlier, Liu Ruyan silently added to herself, except for when he's scolding me. And on the other side, Liu Rumo, who didn't know what to say, also gave a small shake of her head to convey her meaning. Don't you know me well enough by now? Rubbing his bottom as he stood up from the chair, Jiang Heng dropped his playful expression. Father, do you really not plan to come stay with me over there? Indeed, Jiang Heng's bet with the others was to bring Jiang Bihe to live with him. Although at Liu Zhiguo's request, he couldn't stay in the same villa with them, but Liu Zhiguo had agreed to buy him a small house nearby, complete with private staff. So as long as Jiang Bihe nodded his head, he could enjoy an early retirement. Go where? This old man is used to being here. After waving Jiang Heng away impatiently, Jiang Bihe stood up and went downstairs. I'm heading out for a bit. Don't you dare be inhospitable to your sisters. He knew this was Jiang Heng's way of being filial, but like every father in the world, he didn't want to be a burden or have his son worry about him. This old man is as stubborn as ever. Watching Jan Bihe's retreating back, Jiang Heng gave a helpless sigh, then placed a black bank card on the table. This card was given to me by Xiao Wanqing before I left the house, saying it had 500,000 yuan for my personal expenses. The old man never spent a dime of the money I earned, always claiming it was money I worked hard for. That's also why, even though both had been financially free for a long time, the old man still insisted on running this little fish stall. One reason was he cherished the neighborly bonds, and the other was he wanted to use his own strength to save a bit more safety money for Jiang Heng. But this card came from selling myself to the family. So surely the old man can't claim it's hard-earned money anymore, right? And even if he doesn't take it, it's fine. I can visit often anyway. As long as I don't stay here permanently. That damn system probably won't have anything to say about it. System, I give up on you. Even if I said something, would you even listen? Going back already? Seeing Jiang Heng place the card on the table, Liu Rumo realized. She understood this little brother of hers just a bit better. How can we go back now? Flashing a mysterious smile at Liu Rumo, Jiang Heng decisively carried his suitcase over to the fridge. Then I gathered all the junk food that Jiang Biehe would secretly snack on and stuffed it all into the suitcase. While stuffing it, I muttered, "This old man, hitting me with a belt the second we met. I'll show him by clearing out all his favorite treats." Witnessing this, Liu Ruyan, though not quite approving, Jiang Heng taking all this junk food home, had no intention of stopping me. Thinking back to when old Jiang was about to eat something, only for Jiang Heng to snatch it and put it in his own mouth, all while lecturing him that the doctor said he needs to cut back. Smart as she is, she obviously understood the real purpose behind my actions. His clumsy way of caring was actually quite endearing. And beside her, the slightly airheaded Liu Rumo clearly hadn't thought that far ahead, simply finding this straightforward brother of hers to be quite cute. Over 10 minutes later, on the way back to the Liu residence. "Why are you wearing Pinris clothes like this? And using her things too? If you're looking for a thrill, you might as well go all the way. You're being far too slutty. You scumbag. You absolute dog." Looking at Hong Shixian's Dragon King smirk in the video, Liu Ruyan punched the seat in fury. Scumbag men and cheap women really are a match made in heaven. Lock them together forever. Don't let them back into the market. Calm down, just calm down. It's just a TV drama. Silently moving the phone a bit further away to prevent the raging Liu Ruyan from throwing it out the window, Jiang Heng asked curiously, "By the way, third sister, aren't you in the entertainment industry? Why does it feel like you've never encountered a script like this? When I put on this classic drama, The Temptation of Wife, I clearly saw a look of bewilderment on her face. You're a professional in the field, after all, so no matter how you look at it, you shouldn't be completely clueless about this dog-blood romance tragedy genre." Facing Jiang Heng's question, Liu Ruyan scratched her head a bit awkwardly. "Well, Mom and Dad don't let me take on roles with love lines and such, and at home, we never watch this kind of drama." In this moment, she felt that her dignity as an older sister was being seriously challenged. Though truth be told, in front of Jiang Heng, she had zero dignity to begin with. "I see how it is. If you want to watch something later, just text me. I have plenty more tragic dramas where this came from." To Liu Ruyan's response, Jiang Heng didn't find anything unusual about it, because according to the real versus fake young master trope, these sisters of mine would usually end up mealing to flatter Liu Zixuan, and might even join and throw some lavish parties for him. And naturally, the female leads of the protagonist before being conquered must all be inexperienced in love. That's great, that's great. I find these plots very interesting. Liu Ruyan nodded with considerable excitement. At this moment, she felt as if she had just opened a gateway to a whole new world. Moreover, the more she watched, the more she realized how Liu Zixuan and the character Aili in the film were the exact same green tea type, both sharing the same habit of playing the victim. "Hey, you two, take it down a notch." Hearing the loud chatter from the back seat, Liu Rumo, who was acting as the driver, cried out in frustration. "Can't you wait until we get home to watch it with me?" If she had known, she wouldn't have volunteered to drive. Now she could only hear the audio from behind, without seeing a single frame, and she was dying of curiosity. What did Aili look like in Pinris clothes? Was she really as slutty as Hong Shixian said? The urge to discover the truth made her itch with anticipation. "Nope, just focus on driving. Unison, you two are bullying me too much." Looking through the rearview mirror, seeing their two heads practically glued together, Liu Rumo thought to herself, "Since you two chose to be cruel, don't blame me for being heartless. Witness my razor-sharp overtaking move. Holy crap. Unison, leaving aside the three causing a ruckus over the drama. At this moment in the first-floor living room of the Liu mansion, Liu Zixuan, who had just returned from the hospital, was kneeling on the floor, with tears streaming down as he looked at the Liu couple before him, sobbing and pleading. Sniff. Dad, Mom, I didn't mean to. I was just worried that after Jiang Heng's return, you wouldn't want me anymore. Please, Mom and Dad, give me one more chance. I promise to live in harmony with him from now on. Looking at the wretchedly weeping Liu Zixuan, Xiao Wanqing massaged her temples with a growing headache. After all, he was a child she had raised by her side for over a decade, so she couldn't immediately bring herself to kick him out. As for Liu Zhiguo, he was currently sipping his tea leisurely while flipping through a newspaper. Unlike the emotional Xiao Wanqing, he viewed the situation much more rationally. While the Liu family certainly didn't lack the money to feed another mouth like Liu Zixuan, they weren't about to waste their time raising a venomous snake who was an expert at deception. If Liu Zixuan's true colors hadn't been exposed today, he wouldn't have minded letting him stay. But now? The moment Xiao Wanqing makes up her mind, he would immediately have someone throw Liu Zixuan out. Mom, I'm begging you. Please give me one more chance. Xiao Wanqing's hesitation and Liu Zhiguo's cold demeanor prompted Liu Zixuan to immediately pour all his efforts into convincing her. He knew that to stay in the Liu house now, there was only one path left. He had to make Xiao Wanqing's heart soften. Just as Xiao Wanqing was about to speak, the sound of lively discussion from outside reached all the way into the living room. Liu Ruyan, I'm telling you, Hong Xixian is a total scumbag. Pinru was completely justified in her revenge later. Liu Rumo, you're so right. This is the classic ladies' return for revenge trope, an extremely high-quality version of it. Jiang Heng, you two can talk all you want, but can you stop clinging to me like this? Liu Ruyan and Liu Rumo, unison. If we don't stick to you, how are we supposed to see the screen? The three of them entered the living room while bickering, locked eyes with the three people already there. Damn it! Why are second sister and third sister being so intimate with this country bumpkin? Seeing the three of them almost glued together, Liu Zixuan screamed inwardly with rage, but simultaneously, another idea came to mind. Then he crawled pathetically on all fours, rushed to Jiang Heng's side, and tightly grabbed my arm, wailing miserably, Brother, I was truly wrong. I shouldn't have framed you. Can you please take pity on me, and not kick me out of the house? If I say no, I'll expose his selfish and cold-hearted side. He has humbled himself to this extent. Yet if the other person still gives a heartless refusal, it would likely stir compassion in those sitting here, thus increasing his chances of staying. And if the other person agrees, then he can just stay as planned. Thinking of his brilliant plan, his hands involuntarily tightened their grip. No. As I spoke, Jiang Heng followed through with his right leg, kicking Liu Zixuan's right calf hard, and as he lost his balance for a split second, gifted him with a powerful over-the-shoulder throw. Since the floor was all marble, the fall nearly broke Liu Zixuan's back. His agonizing scream instantly stirred what little maternal instinct remained in Xiao Wanqing's heart. Regardless of everything, this child had been raised by her for over 10 years, so seeing him assaulted right in front of her couldn't help but cause her some distress. But just as she was about to speak, Jiang Heng beat her to it. Do I look like someone who has a fetish for being mistreated? As I spoke, I raised my arm, glancing down at the groaning Liu Zixuan on the floor with total impatience. Why should I forgive someone whose every word is a lie, especially one who still intends to harm others even while apologizing? Visible on Jiang Heng's originally fair arm, 10 distinct marks had now appeared, shaped like crescent moons. Looking at those red welts slowly turning purple, it was likely they would soon turn into dark bruises. I am not some honest young master who would submissively endure being mistreated. There's no way I would let this guy get away with this so easily. If it weren't for the fact that taking action would make the opponent's character's setting violate rule number 10,086 of the system regulations, then I would have given him a very sudden ending already. You have truly disappointed me so much. Seeing the 10 fingernail marks on Jiang Heng's arm, Xiao Wanqing hurriedly ran to my side, distressed as she held her son's arm. She really didn't expect that. This foster son of hers, even at this point, would still pull such a petty and underhanded trick. It was a waste that she felt soft-hearted earlier. Now thinking back, it was the height of stupidity. Seeing Xiao Wanqing's disappointed face, Liu Zixuan didn't even care about his own pain, quickly speaking up to explain, "Mother, I didn't mean it. I was just too emotional for a moment. Having lived in this house for over 10 years, how could he not know? Who truly has the most say in this place?" Don't be fooled by Liu Zhiguo acting like the head of a household all the time, but whenever it comes to family matters, 9 times out of 10 he follows Sha Wenqing's decisions. Forget it, those things don't matter anymore. After shaking her head in deep disappointment, Sha Wenqing looked at the dejected Liu Zixuan and announced her final verdict, since little Hung is back. "Zixuan, you should go back and visit your biological father too." Upon hearing this, Liu Zixuan felt like he'd been struck by a bolt of lightning. His whole body was like a fish deprived of oxygen as he collapsed to the ground. He didn't want to go back to that place smelling of fish, at that tiny little fish stall. He is the young master of the Liu family. How could he go live in such a wretched place? Besides, once he steps out of here, would he ever have a chance to come back? Thinking of that, he immediately crawled over to Sha Wenqing's side, crying piteously, "Mother, I've grown up by your side since I was little, so to me, you are my closest relative. As for my biological father, I will also find time to visit him, and I will definitely take care of him for the rest of his life. But I don't want to be away from you. Besides, school is about to start soon. If you make me move back there now, it will surely take me a long time to adapt, and that will affect my studies." Tisk, 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 second sister, third sister. Do you two hear how familiar these words sound? It's exactly like the scene in the movie just now. Without waiting for Liu Zixuan to fully utilize his emotional card, Jiang Heng spoke up and interrupted. Just like the part where Ai Li, after being defeated by Pinru, doesn't want to return to her previous life of poverty, so she shamelessly begs to stay by Hong Xixian's side. That dialogue is exactly the same. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan and Liu Rumo looked at Liu Zixuan with eyes full of scrutiny. It's true that earlier, they did feel a little soft-hearted for a moment, but after being reminded by Jiang Heng, the more they thought about it now, the more they felt he was right. Those words from Liu Zixuan just now, don't they translate to, "I've gotten used to this. Life of luxury and material comfort, and I don't want to go back to that dirt-poor house, do I?" Combined with the fact that they just saw the scene of Jiang Heng and old Jiang being so close. So now in their eyes, Liu Zixuan was nothing more than a social climber who despised the poor. "Enough. I'll give you 1 night to pack your things." Sha Wenqing shook off Liu Zixuan's hands clutching her hem, looking with disappointment at the foster son sitting slumped on the floor. "Tomorrow, I will have Butler Wang take you back." At this moment, she felt like a complete failure. After all these years, she had raised a child like this. "Mother, please don't." Without waiting for Liu Zixuan to finish, Sha Wenqing waved for someone to come. "Take the young master to his room to pack his things." "Yes, madam." As soon as she finished speaking, 2 sturdy female servants lifted Liu Zixuan by his armpits, preparing to take him to his room on the 2nd floor. Watching Liu Zixuan squirming, like a caterpillar, Jiang Heng spoke up just in time. "Wait, could you please not send him back there?" Hearing these words from Jiang Heng, everyone present turned their eyes toward him. Even the caterpillar Liu Zixuan had a spark of something called hope flashing in his eyes. He swore that if he could just stay here, later, after he'd finished off this guy, he would be merciful and kind enough not to feed his ashes to the dogs. However, in the next second, Jiang Heng's words made him completely collapse. "I mean, can you take him somewhere else? Old Jiang's health isn't very good. I'm afraid if this guy goes there, hell upset him. I don't want to let this guy go back and ruin old Jiang's life. If this piece of trash goes there, I'd be surprised if he didn't make him so mad that he'd lose 10 years of his life." "All right then, we'll take him to the apartment in Baihan Garden." Because of the previous bet, Sha Wenqing also knew very well Jiang Bihe's place in Jiang Heng's heart. After saying that, she led Jiang Heng out of the living room, intending to apply medicine to the wound on his arm. Seeing Jiang Heng being led away, Liu Ruyan and Liu Rumo also hurriedly followed Sha Wenqing and left. From the moment Liu Zixuan's perfect young master image collapsed, in their eyes now, whatever he did was an eyesore. Out of sight, out of mind. "Take the young master to his room to pack his luggage." Seeing that everyone had left, Liu Zhiguo gave the final instructions to the servants, then also stood up and left the living room. No, this can't be real. After being hauled into his room by 2 male servants, Liu Zixuan finished packing his teeth as he heard the whispering going from the door, a hateful glare flashing in his eyes. He was not resigned. Why is it that as soon as that guy came back, he was discarded like a stray dog? No, that's not right. But suddenly, he remembered something extremely important. Immediately after, he hurriedly picked up his phone and messaged a few people. While Liu Zixuan was making his final struggle, the system looked at Jiang Heng being surrounded and cared for, and began to doubt if it had the wrong script. By now, the whole family should have been worrying about Liu Zixuan, while Jiang Heng should be all alone in a cramped basement, nursing his own pain. Seeing a series of humiliation tasks that hadn't been deployed yet, the system gritted its teeth and made a decision to defy fate. Ouch, it hurts so much. It's not your first time. What are you even hurting for? You don't understand. She is Pinru. She has returned. In the private screening room on the second floor of the Liu mansion, Jiang Heng, Liu Rumo, and Liu Ruyan were all slouched in the GU style, relaxing together on the plush sofa. And all three of their feet were soaking in separate wooden tubs. In those foot-soaking tubs were herbal medicines that Jiang Heng had specially asked the butler to find. Resulting herbal water was extremely effective in relaxing the nerves. This feels amazing. Why didn't I ever think of this before? Right now, looking at Liu Rumo, she didn't have a shred of her cold goddess aura left. She was the perfect female version of the slouched Giyu, except for occasionally reaching out to snatch snacks from Jiang Heng. The only things on her body that moved were her toes occasionally wiggling. Exactly, I feel like I've wasted the last 20-something years of my life. Hearing her second sister's sigh, Liu Ruyan also nodded vigorously in agreement. I feel like I don't want to move even a single bit anymore. As the young misses of the Liu family, the two of them had naturally never tasted the pleasure of a foot soak like this, so this could be considered the first time they felt the elegant joy of sinking their feet into warm herbal water. Hey, can't you two get it yourselves? Watching the two of them, once again snatching away his last two spicy strips, Jiang Heng could only cork his lips in a mix of amusement and frustration. I'm starting to seriously doubt if the system is malfunctioning. Where is the cold goddess vibe that protects the fake young master? This behavior is really that of two female hoodlums. From not wanting to eat it first, to try in one bite of the spicy strip, to now their mouths chewing incessantly. That whole process took less than half an hour. It turns out that before old way-long spicy strips, all living beings are truly equal. Isn't it just because little Heng is sitting closest to the snacks? Hearing Jiang Heng complain, Liu Ruyan, being thick-skinned, just grinned carefree and reached her fair hand toward him. Give sister another pack. The sweet and sour flavor this time. Hearing that, Liu Rumo, being a bit more reserved after a moment's hesitation, also whispered, then, give sister the extra spicy pack. Looking at a carefree Liu Ruyan and a still slightly bashful Liu Rumo, Jiang Heng temporarily didn't know what to say. Is it joy? He suddenly became a snack-loading machine for these two. Is it not joy? But their attitude toward him was very good, not at all like those wicked sisters in those rich family struggle novels. Just as he was about to hand the spicy strips to them, the door of the screening room was pushed open from the outside. The moment the door opened, light from the hallway flooded into the room, causing the projector screen to blur slightly. This sudden change caused all three of them to shift their gaze toward the door, only to see Liu Zixuan standing tall there, his face filled with shock and bewilderment, as if he couldn't believe the relationship between these three could become so close so quickly. Second sister, third sister. What are you two doing? Still harboring hope of salvaging the situation, Liu Zixuan forced a smile, looking at his two sisters and said, I've been looking everywhere for you. He truly couldn't understand why Jiang Heng, having only returned home less than a day ago, could make his two sisters, who once pampered him so much, choose to turn their backs on him like this. Just soaking our feet and watching temptation of wife. Compared to Liu Ruyan's straightforward personality, Liu Rumo temporarily couldn't completely sever the feelings from over 10 years of being with Liu Zixuan, so she spoke up. Have you finished packing your things yet? If you're done, come over here. Seeing Liu Zixuan about to ramble some more, Liu Ruyan, sitting nearby, reached out to take a spicy strip from Jiang Heng and spoke casually. Also, your older brother is sitting here. Can't you see him? As the first one to wake up in this house, her attitude toward Liu Zixuan had changed most radically. In other words, with the instincts of a professional actress, after watching too many green tea dramas, she unconsciously tagged Liu Zixuan with that masculine green tea label. And that label only made her dislike him even more. I am sorry, seeing Liu Ruyan so cold, Liu Zixuan immediately put on a piteous and pathetic face, hoping to soften her heart and get her attention. However, unfortunately, Liu Ruyan only gave him a cold glance, then turned back to focus on Pinru, dealing with Ai Li. An apology isn't necessary. Noticing the fleeting defiance in Liu Zixuan's eyes, Jiang Heng smiled and said, "If the luggage isn't packed yet, then hurry back and finish packing. Lest you forget something tomorrow, that wouldn't be good. Oh, and while you're at it, please close the door. The hallway light is a bit bright." In this situation, using violence wouldn't be very appropriate, so verbal sparring like this was the only way. And after saying that, Jiang Heng didn't bother to pay any more attention to any of Liu Zixuan's actions. He turned back to the other two, to continue enjoying the movie. Damn it, seeing that, Liu Ruyan and Liu Rumo completely ignored him and didn't even care about him anymore. A deep anxiety rose up inside Liu Zixuan. Although he had called for reinforcements from outside, ultimately, this house was the root, if no one wanted him here anymore, and even when reinforcements arrived. "Zixuan, if you have nothing else to do, please leave." Since the movie was currently at the scene where Pinru goes to find Ai Li at night, the light from the hallway was really affecting the viewing experience. So Liu Rumo, who intended to stay silent, finally had to speak up to shoo him away. Seeing that none of the three wanted to talk to him, Liu Zixuan could only glare at Jiang Heng with resentment, then turned and stormed out of the screening room, not forgetting to slam the door loudly. Hearing that dry slam, Liu Ruyan and Jiang Heng looked at each other, then shrugged in unison, and then stopped paying him any mind. As for Liu Rumo, she was currently so excited watching Pinru punish the green tea that she almost stuffed a spicy strip up her nose. After the three of them had been binge-watching for a while longer, and the plot was reaching its most intense point, there was suddenly a knock at the door. "Second miss, third miss. Young master, please excuse the interruption." After secretly memorizing the name of the movie playing on the screen, Butler Wang said to the three, "Miss Lang has arrived." The madam asked the young master to come downstairs. Standing outside earlier, he had already heard the movie sound from inside. He thought to himself that this kind of movie was perfect for him and Manny Wu to watch together when they were alone. Hearing the name Miss Lang, Liu Ruyan and Liu Rumo instinctively furrowed their brows, and at the same time, bad premonition rose in their hearts. "The Lang Qingqiu I'm talking about is supposed to be your fiancé, right? Is that right?" After hearing Liu Ruyan's explanation, Jiang Heng finally understood why their reaction was so intense. Because according to the typical trope in real versus fake young master stories, this Lang Qingqiu girl who is my fiancé will surely say something like, "I will only marry Liu Zixuan in this life." Something super cheesy. Sure enough, the system's notification sound rang right after, proving my guess was entirely correct. Mission activated, encounter fiancé Lang Qingqiu. After being rejected by the opponent, you must cry out in a piteous and heart-wrenching manner. Reward, top-tier culinary and gastronomy skills. Doesn't sound too bad. Looking at the reward and requirement of the mission on the system board, a glint of meaningful excitement flashed in Jiang Heng's eyes. This requirement to cry piteously actually has a very broad scope of interpretation, so he had plenty of room to find a loophole and do as he pleased. And the system, for some reason, suddenly felt an unusually cold shiver down its spine. "That's right, little brother. It's an engagement the previous generation. Decided for you two before you were even born." As they got closer to the living room, Liu Rumo looked more worried, gently pulling Jiang Heng's sleeve and advising, "So if anything happens later, just stay quiet. Let your sisters handle it, understand?" Even though she knew her brother wasn't someone easily bullied, this matter ultimately involved the elders, so if possible, Liu Rumo thought it would be best to settle it in the smoothest way possible. "Don't worry, second sister. Just let me handle this myself." Hearing this, Jiang Heng flatly refused his sister's offer, because if he let her handle it, how could he carry out the rest of his plans? "Oh, come on, second sister, just let little Heng handle it himself." Seeing Liu Rumo about to say more, Liu Ruyan gently tugged her sleeve, then threw Jiang Heng an encouraging look. "Good luck, little brother." She also really wanted to see what other earth-shaking wonders this brother, who always brings surprise after surprise, would ultimately achieve. And if he couldn't manage it later, she definitely wouldn't just sit back and watch. "Just trust me, I'll settle everything just fine." As he was speaking, the three of them reached the turn of the stairs. Just past this point and they'd be at the living room. However, before all three could even step into the living room, they heard Liu Zixuan's voice along with another girl's voice. "Zixuan, sniff. I'm fine. Maybe let's just leave it." "Don't you worry," that girl said resolutely. "I will definitely get justice for you." Hearing this soap opera-like dialogue, Jiang Heng turned to the two sisters and teased, "This is exactly the script for a domineering CEO and his little wife." Wait, no, his weak little husband. Because Jiang Hang's mockery was so spot on, the Lu sisters couldn't help themselves and burst out laughing on the spot, and their laughter immediately caught the attention of everyone in the living room. Seeing the three of them coming down, Sha Wanqing waved them over. Jiang Hang, come here for a moment. This is Leng Qingqiu from the Leng family, the fiancé that your father and I decided for you long ago. Auntie Sha, the one with the engagement to me is Z. In the middle of her sentence, that girl named Leng Qingqiu also turned to look at the three of them at the stairs. This must be the little young master the Liu family just brought back, right? But please keep one thing in mind. I will never fulfill this engagement with you. Leng Qingqiu's words were incredibly blunt, no different from trampling on Jiang Hang's dignity without mercy, even grinding it into the mud. Seeing this, the Liu family were about to speak up in his defense, but Jiang Hang spoke first. So, you mean you want to break the engagement with me, Miss Leng? As soon as he finished, a smile full of deep meaning appeared on his lips. Exactly like the fiancé trope in real versus fake young master stories, Leng Qingqiu was indeed a favorite of heaven-type character, especially regarding her looks. She possessed a flawless beauty, refined and harmonious features, along with long, silky black hair down to her back, made her, even at an immature age, exude a strangely enchanting charm. If one were to use a phrase to describe her, it would be unrivaled through the ages. Beauty beyond compare, a national treasure, a beauty that makes the world tilt. Yes, I will never fulfill this engagement with you. Even though she couldn't understand it all. Why, when she spoke such heartless words, Jiang Hang looked so excited. Leng Qingqiu still coldly nodded in confirmation, then continued seriously. Let me be direct. You've only just returned and already used schemes to drive Zixuan away, which shows that your character is problematic. And I, Leng Qingqiu, will absolutely never be with someone with such low character. As she spoke, she glanced slightly toward the Liu family members, as if searching for something. She expected to see remorse on their faces. However, what met her eyes wasn't remorse at all, but faces looking at her as if she were a fool. Those expressions seemed to say, "Do you even hear the nonsense you're spouting?" Just as she was about to retaliate, Jiang Heng quickly stepped forward right in front of her. After delivering a violent kick that sent the stunned Liu Zixuan flying, he quickly grabbed the girl's chin and thrust his phone right in front of her face. Realizing Jiang Heng's ill intentions, the system screamed in his head, "Oh my God. Host, please stop causing more trouble." When did I cause trouble? Didn't the mission say to cry out in a piteous manner? It didn't specify who has to do the crying. After bickering with the system in his head, Jiang Heng decisively pressed the play button on a video. System, I'm begging you, host. You shouldn't have come back to this place in the first place. You should have just rotted away in that slum. To our parents and everyone in this house, I am their only true young master. Are you crazy? Where's my room? Haha, I will definitely make you see clearly, so you know who is the most important person here. How embarrassing. My virtue really isn't that good after all. Glancing at Leng Qingqiu's unbelieving expression, along with Liu Zixuan collapsing on the ground with eyes burning with rage. After letting go of the young lady's chin, Jiang Heng casually shrugged his shoulders. Coincidentally, I also feel that Miss Leng's brain isn't working very well. So, are you even worthy of a marriage alliance with me? After saying that, Jiang Heng immediately distanced himself from Leng Qingqiu. If both sides find each other incompatible, then please, Miss Leng, go home and tell your parents. Give them a word. A loose woman with a green tea bitch, truly a match made in heaven. I have no interest in being a cuckold. These uncertain factors are best cut off early. Furthermore, my actions just now were carried out strictly according to the mission requirements. There were absolutely no mistakes. All right, as for the broken engagement, since it was you, Leng Qingqiu, who took the initiative to suggest it, then it's only reasonable for your parents to provide fair compensation. That seems fair, right? What is going on? After watching the footage in the video, Leng Qingqiu was stunned for a long time, before turning her head to look at Liu Zixuan lying on the ground. This situation and what he told her are not the same at all. On the phone, Liu Zixuan clearly said that, after Jiang Heng returned, he deliberately made things difficult for him and plotted to kick him out of the Liu family. Qingqiu, let me explain. Fearing everything would be exposed, this time Liu Zixuan really burst into tears. Tears and snot flowed like rain, just streaming down. He never expected that. This guy Jiang Heng wouldn't play by the rules at all. At this point, shouldn't there be a back-and-forth struggle? You played your trump card right away. How am I supposed to keep playing? And when she saw Liu Zixuan, crying and sobbing, approaching her, Lang Qingqiu, who was a bit of a germaphobe, subconsciously took half a step back. But that half step back in Liu Zixuan's eyes carried a completely different, bitter meaning. If background music rose up right now, it would definitely be these lyrics. Was your half step back intentional? Such a small movement causes such deep hurt. System, look at this. Isn't someone crying their heart out? Seeing Liu Zixuan still rambling, trying to explain to Lang Qingqiu, Zhang Heng took a handful of sunflower seeds from his pocket, shared them with the two Liu sisters beside him, then casually stood there watching the drama unfold. I told you so, although the system grumbled loudly. Seeing the results still aligned with the mission rules, it could only feel helpless, sending the previously promised reward. Right after that, Zhang Heng felt his scalp itch. The feeling of his brain being upgraded appeared once more. Almost in an instant, knowledge and experiences filled my mind. Of a state banquet imperial chef. As for the body's proficiency, let's just say it's better not to mention it. This system is really stingy. One look and you can tell it's henpecked. After sending the mission reward, the system wasn't idle either. It directly sent a request for more higher-level permissions. Damn it, this fake young master is beyond saving. If it doesn't deal with this video, how can that idiot keep playing? While the system was working hard, Jiang Heng and 3, wait, no, must also count. Xiao Wanqing, who had been standing nearby for a while. All 4 people had finished eating the sunflower seeds. All right. Miss Lang, since you've made things clear, then go home early. After temporarily stuffing the shells into another pocket, Zhang Heng interrupted the 2 who were still at a deadlock. We are also about to have dinner. I think the grand eldest daughter of the Lang family wouldn't go as far as staying for a free meal, right? Hearing that, Lang Qingqiu gave Zhang Heng a sharp, annoyed glare. After that, she didn't even bother with Liu Zixuan, who was about to explain further. She turned and walked straight out of the Liu gate. Today she had completely lost face, therefore in her heart toward Zhang Heng. Naturally, there wasn't a single bit of goodwill. Qingqiu, don't go. Seeing Lang Qingqiu walk away, Liu Zixuan's heart turned completely cold. The current situation was a far cry from the ending he had envisioned. Shouldn't Lang Qingqiu have come to break the engagement? And then he would use the title of the Lang family's son-in-law to continue staying here. Now that Lang Qingqiu has dusted her hands and left, what should I do? Servants, go upstairs now. Clear out everything in Liu Zixuan's room. Seeing Liu Zixuan's dejected and miserable appearance, Xiao Wanqing, expressionless, coldly spoke to the servants nearby. Whatever can't be cleared, just throw it away. Before this day ends, you must kick him out to that rundown old apartment for me. Originally, out of consideration for over 10 years of upbringing, she intended to arrange for him to stay in a luxury apartment right in the city center. But now it seems, if not for the concern that Jiang Heng just returned, announcing a complete break immediately of the relationship with Liu Zixuan, might affect her son's reputation. Then she wouldn't have just arranged an apartment, but would have let him wander the streets. Mother, please don't. Hearing Xiao Wenqing's arrangement, Liu Zixuan immediately wailed miserably. I don't want to. Enough. Men, take him to the car first. Without waiting for Liu Zixuan to finish, Xiao Wenqing waved her hand at the servants behind her. Once the things are somewhat packed, take him away immediately. Yes, madam. Liu Zixuan, no. Let me go. Watching Liu Zixuan being dragged away by the servants, Xiao Wanqing had a slight headache and rubbed her temples. Xiao Heng, don't worry too much. Regarding the Lang family, I will go negotiate. The reason the Lang and Liu families set this engagement, besides the relationship from the grandfather's generation, was also because both sides have always collaborated in business. If Lang Qingqiu is truly determined, then perhaps I should start considering whether to prepare a backup plan. Actually, it's not necessary. It's fine just like this. Seeing this mother acting so decisively and swiftly, Zhang Heng smiled and shrugged, then continued with a serious expression. Also, mother, are you worried the Lang family will use this matter to affect the cooperation with our family, since the other party has cooperated so enthusiastically? Then I should also show a bit of my worth, shouldn't I? After all, one can choose to be a salted fish to live peacefully, but one cannot allow oneself to truly be a useless salted fish. Emotions are very mysterious. They can last a lifetime, but they can also shatter in an instant. Not to mention, this is a melodramatic novel about real and fake young masters. so Jiang Heng couldn't afford to be careless. Anyway, now that Liu Zixuan has been kicked out by me, so next. I just need to calmly complete all the plot points, till the day everything ends completely. I will naturally be able to return to a peaceful life. Waiting for luck to fall into my lap. You even know about these things. Looking at Jiang Heng with some surprise, Xiao Wenqing showed clear curiosity on her face. She spoke. Tell me, what is your assessment of this matter? Although she was quite surprised at first that Jiang Heng understood these inner court secrets, but thinking back, it wasn't some huge secret, so she quickly regained her composure. My thoughts are actually very simple. That is, to wait. This time, not only Xiao Wenqing, but also the two sisters of the Liu family showed expressions of deep thought. Exactly, it's about waiting. Seeing the three of them deep in thought, Jiang Heng directly laid out the interest entanglements between the two families, right on the table. Instead of taking the initiative to negotiate with the Leng family, why not use this opportunity to see what their attitude is? First, if we abruptly visit their house, just to talk about this, then we will unintentionally become the side in the wrong. In that case, we might even have to pay a certain price. But if we simply wait in silence, we lose nothing, and we can see through the Leng family's true attitude. If they truly want to maintain the relationship and cooperation, then they will surely take the initiative to come to our door. But if there is no news from them, then perhaps it shows that they had long harbored the intention to stop cooperating with the Liu group. If that's the case, we can also prepare early to find a new partner for ourselves. Of course, if Lin Qingqiu hasn't yet told the Leng family about this, then all the above hypotheses are disregarded. In my past life, I did lead a large enterprise after all, so I've always had this bit of vision. Anyway, I just want to do business. I didn't suddenly turn into an idiot who knows nothing. After hearing Jiang Heng's explanation, Xiao Wenqing's beautiful eyes lit up slightly. Not bad, well said. Let's do as Xiao Heng says, because she always prioritized the friendship with the Leng family. So just now, she hadn't looked at the problem from an outsider's perspective. Now hearing Jiang Heng's analysis, she felt her soul enlightened and greatly relieved. At the same time, she also had a completely new view of Jiang Heng. This son of hers who had been lost for many years. Perhaps he is not as simple as he appears. Xiao Heng, how can you think of these things? While Xiao Wenqing was still lost in thought, Liu Ruyan, who was standing nearby, looked at me with a very peculiar gaze. Now I'm starting to seriously suspect. Is your body possessed by some old ghost's soul? Otherwise, how could you think of so many profound things? Jiang Heng, third sister, you've probably watched too many TV dramas. Speechlessly glancing at Liu Ruyan, who was full of curiosity. Liu Rumo took a step forward and grabbed Jiang Heng's arm. Couldn't it be that our Xiao Heng has excellent talent in the field of business? Second sister, third sister, you didn't guess wrong this time. Secretly muttering to himself, Jiang Heng kept a calm face and said, It's all in the financial newspapers. When you're free, just read them more and you'll know. Liu Ruyan and Liu Rumo thought, next time, definitely. Reading newspapers is something that would never happen. Not in this lifetime could they be told to read those things. Looking at the lively and noisy scene of the three children, Xiao Wenqing couldn't help but show a satisfied smile. She was worried they would have trouble getting along. Now it seems biological siblings will always be biological siblings. Elsewhere, at the small fish stall in the old quarter. After silently putting away the bank card on the TV shelf, Jiang Bi's lips had just started to curl into a smile. But in the next second, seeing the refrigerator even cleaner than his own pockets, the smile on his face immediately vanished. He sighed and shook his head in disappointment, while pulling out his treasure, the leather belt. He muttered to himself, It seems I still have to practice the lightning 5 consecutive whips technique. It'll be bad if that stinky brat comes back next time and I've lost my touch. The next day, on the way to a private beauty club. At this time, Jiang Heng, who was specifically requested by Xiao Wenqing to polish his appearance. Jiang Heng was obediently sitting in the back seat, eyes closed to calm his mind. It's just that Jiang Heng looked quiet on the outside, but in reality, his heart was busy greeting every intimate corner of the system's relatives. Want to ask why? Because whether it was on the phone or in the surveillance hard drive at the Liu villa, every video clip related to Liu Zixuan, the scene of him hitting himself, had now mysteriously vanished into thin air. And the one who could do this silently. Besides that system with its extraordinary methods, there surely was no one else. System, I've taken off my headphones. I can't hear anything. Come and hit me if you dare, you idiot. IFXXXXXX. While Jiang Heng was still bickering with the system, the car slowly entered the parking lot of the private beauty club, since the grandfather of the family had set the date for the recognizing the ancestors ceremony for 1 month later. Therefore, Xia Wanqing, taking Jiang Heng out this time, had a primary purpose, which was to let everyone in high society get acquainted with me ahead of time. As for Liu Rumo and Liu Ruyan, they were tasked with handling Jiang Heng's school transfer procedures. If nothing unexpected happened, then by tomorrow, my school records would be transferred from high school number 2 to high school number 1 after taking the elevator up to the rooftop hanging garden. Several noble ladies warmly approached the mother and son, seeing Jiang Heng appear beside Xia Wanqing. A lady with golden hair wavy like ocean waves curiously spoke up, "Wanqing, this one is." Usually she would bring Liu Zixuan here. Today she suddenly changed to a different face. That couldn't help but make them feel a bit curious. I was just about to introduce him to you all. After smiling and greeting everyone, Xia Wanqing pulled Jiang Heng closer, then announced to them, "This is the person I mentioned to you before. My other son, Jiang Heng. Before, due to some complications, he had always lived outside. He just recently officially returned to Jinhai. The matter of mistaking a child is spoken of bluntly, would more or less negatively affect the reputation of the Liu family. So after discussing carefully with Liu Zhiguo, both decided to temporarily keep this secret. Also because previously there was still the intention to continue adopting Liu Zixuan. So initially Xia King did not expose his adopted status, but only said that the Liu family has 2 sons. Greetings, aunts." After Xia Wanqing finished the introduction, Jiang Heng acted very obediently, smiling and greeting everyone. "Oh my, Xiao Heng is so well behaved. Wenqing, look. Xiao Heng even has some of your features from back then. I think he looks more like old Liu. Look at those eyes." After a round of lively chatter, Xia Wanqing and her circle of friends began today's skincare session. As for me, I found a random excuse to slip downstairs, intending to rest for a while. The reason for doing so was very simple. 1, at this vigorous age, I didn't need any maintenance. 2, the excessive enthusiasm of those wealthy ladies made me more or less unable to stand it. As soon as Jiang Heng got downstairs and was about to find a place to get something to eat, taking the chance to be lazy for a bit, the system's notification sound suddenly rang out repeatedly in my mind. Detected one of the female leads nearby. Mission triggered. Help the female lead meet the fake young master. Mission reward, musical instrument mastery. This sudden mission trigger was also considered its final test for Jiang Heng. If not for the fact that it couldn't manifest a physical form, then damn it, it just wanted to grab Jiang Heng by the collar and scream, "Don't force me to kneel. I beg you, do the mission properly. Stop causing more trouble for me. I already said it. Why do you insist on me following along?" Seeing the mission prompt the system provided, Jiang Heng stopped in his tracks. I turned and walked toward the direction the system indicated. Anyway, I have nothing to do right now. Why not go find some entertainment? Furthermore, analyzing it literally, I still have quite a bit of room to maneuver, don't I? It's just that this troublemaking system insisted on not revealing to me what the next plot development would be, precisely because of that. Regarding this female lead's personality, I have absolutely no information. If the other party is also a green tea type just like Liu Zixuan, then I will definitely find a way to lock those two together forever. I hadn't walked far before Jiang Heng saw the rumored female lead. Must admit one thing. As the female lead in a real versus fake young master story, her looks and aura were indeed top tier beyond reproach, a truly authentic beauty. As if she stepped out of the pages of a manhwa, delicate and refined facial features, pure white cheeks with a hint of baby fat, combined with long black glossy hair, enough to enchant anyone, especially those deep, agile black eyes, giving people the feeling that she was a girl who had never experienced the world, always oddly evoking a protective instinct in others. Only her current situation wasn't very favorable, surrounded by several rebellious girls, looking flashy and full of challenge. Among them, the one who looked best was holding a cigarette, intending to shove it into the girl's mouth, while the others stood in a circle, surrounding the two of them in the center. It seemed as if the moment the girl dared to refuse, they would immediately rush in, to let her know what consequences meant immediately. Let that girl go. Let me, wait, no. Everyone, get out of my way. Thanks to his superior physical advantage, Jiang Heng quickly pushed through the circle of rebellious girls outside. I reached out, stopping the arm holding the cigarette inside, conveniently shielding the female lead right behind me. Damn it, who the hell are you? Shoving Jiang Heng's hand away with great annoyance. That rebellious girl with a face full of killing intent glared intensely at me. And during all that, she didn't stop rubbing her arm, as if she extremely loathed being touched by a boy. This type probably isn't a lesbian, is she? Noticing the rebellious girl's action, Jiang Heng thought of a sarcastic remark to himself. Then I pulled my phone out of my pocket. Smiling, I spoke, "Bullying others is not good. If you don't want to bring trouble upon yourself, leave now. I've already called the police, trying to reason with these brats. The probability of them listening is only a mere 1%, but if you use the name of the police to threaten them, then the chance of them obeying rises to over 99%. When meeting delinquents, don't reason. Using force or threats is most effective. This is also a bitter lesson I've learned after many years of gutting fish at the market. After all, the market is a place of all sorts of people. There are always some people with weird logic jumping out to cause trouble. And to deal with that kind of person, calling the police is obviously always the best choice. You threatening me? Hearing Jiang Heng say he called the police, the leader curled her lip in disdain. Just as she was about to say something to her lackeys, her body suddenly stiffened for a brief moment. Damn it, consider yourself lucky. After saying that, she turned around leading the rest of the delinquent girls out of the alley. These kids, they believe everything I say. Looking at the backs of those who just left in a hurry with boredom. I smirked slightly. Jiang Heng turned to look at the young girl standing behind him and asked, "Are you okay?" Hearing that, the girl slowly raised her face, which was still slightly bowed, revealing an appearance that was naive and extremely easy to bully. This female lead is either a fool or a white lotus for sure. Seeing the pitiful look of the young girl before him, Jiang Heng made a judgment in his heart. While speaking, "They're gone. Do I need to help you contact your family? Having chased away the troublemakers, I still have a few things to settle. My family isn't here." While speaking, the girl slightly looked up with her clear, beautiful eyes, staring intently at Jiang Heng. Then she gave a somewhat naive smile. "But thank you very much anyway." Her voice was very soft and sweet, carrying a bit of purity that made one's heart skip a beat. Probably a truly naive type. Looking at the other's silly appearance, Jiang Heng silently crossed out White Lotus from his thoughts about her. "You're welcome. But next time you face something like this, remember to resist. Otherwise, they will only push further, understand? This issue of school bullying, no matter at what time or age, is an extremely condemnable act. So even though he knew the girl before him was the female lead, Jiang Heng couldn't help but want to speak up, to give a gentle warning to the other party. "I know." After nodding obediently to Jiang Heng, the young girl spoke seriously. "I told you to help the female lead meet the fake young master. Result. Why the hell did a brat like you show her a photo of him instead? Showing a photo is one thing, but you even used a black and white photo. Do you think he's Brother Cheng or something? Why use a black and white photo? What do you want? Do you want to fly up to the blue sky and stand beside the sun?" But no matter how dissatisfied it was, in the end it could only swallow its bitterness, had to swallow this anger. Anyway, according to the evaluation standards, Jiang Heng indeed let the female lead meet Liu Zixin. "Hey, you system thing, are you a female? And an early menopause type at that?" Hearing the system screaming in his head out of frustration, Jiang Heng curiously asked, "If your systems are also divided into male and female, then can you give birth to children? The baby born would probably have to go to work immediately, right? If it's really like that, then aren't you guys exploiting child labor? Let me tell you this. Oh, forget it. Just destroy everything." Hearing Jiang Heng constantly rambling in its head, the system completely gave up the idea of arguing with me. Anyway, even that monk who liked singing back then wasn't as difficult to deal with as Jiang Heng is now. At the same time, at a barbecue stall not far from the alley earlier, Heir, a young girl, was nibbling on pieces of grilled meat in her hand, while taking out her phone to make a call. "Arrange for my enrollment. In the next few days, I want to." A few days later, at the grade 12 office of high school number 1, Xiao Heng am heading back first. Looking at Jiang Heng standing obediently to the side, Liu Rumo made a V sign at him, smiling with narrowed eyes. "If there's anything you can't handle, just call me or call home. I and everyone else will solve it for you immediately. Jiang Heng nodded as if accepting his fate and answered listlessly, I know. Second sister, go ahead and take care of your business. Because he didn't care much about studying before, the old school he attended was school number 12, but after learning about that, Xiao Wanqin used her connections to transfer him to the prestigious school number 1. According to her, the teaching staff at school number 1 is several times better than school number 2. Now that you're back, I must definitely provide you with the best educational conditions. However, for Jiang Heng, this concern was truly too burdensome. Based on his knowledge foundation before awakening his memories, he could still live comfortably at school number 2. But after remembering everything, his mind was no longer on studying. Under the pressure of his old foundation plus the leather belt lashings from old Jiang, he could still force himself to maintain decent grades at school number 2. But now that he's at school number 1, he reckoned his academic performance would plummet like a free fall. Of course, the main reason he came here was still the systems. Coercion. Just like when he didn't want to return to the Liu family, this place is a key location to trigger plot events. If old Jiang finds out about this later. Just thinking about it, Jiang Heng vaguely felt his butt was about to break into 8 pieces. Alright, if there's anything you're not used to, you must tell second sister. After saying that, Lu Rumo patted Jiang Heng's shoulder, then turned around and left. Student Jiang Heng, please sit down and rest for a moment. After Lu Rumo left, the middle-aged female teacher said to Jiang Heng, besides you, today, there's another new student. You two can get to know each other later. For most students, blending into an unfamiliar environment is still a significant challenge. Therefore, to prevent Jiang Heng from being isolated when entering the class, the teacher planned to let him get acquainted with that other transfer student. That way, even if Jiang Heng can't fit in immediately, he'll still have someone to talk to. Yes, ma'am. Wearing a smile that looked extremely gentle and honest for the teacher, Jiang Heng sat down in the empty chair nearby. Looking at the system that had completely given up in his head, he let out a helpless sigh. I mean, why are you so petty? Let me see the next plot point a bit. It's not like you'll lose a limb. System, what did you say? I can't hear anything. Just as Jiang Heng was about to kindly advise. The system with good intentions. At the door of the teacher's office, a young girl carrying a backpack was walking in. What a coincidence, we meet again. Jiang Heng. Hearing that sweet, familiar voice, Jiang Heng instinctively looked up, looking in the direction of the sound. The moment he saw the girl, he also smiled and waved at her. So the new student the teacher mentioned is you, Shen Yushu. Meeting Shen Yushu again here. Jiang Heng wasn't too surprised. After all, this place is a hub for trouble, so it was understandable for a female lead like Shen Yushu to appear here. It's just that he didn't expect she would be like him, enrolling as a transfer student as well. I didn't expect us to become classmates either. While speaking, Shen Yushu reached out her right hand to Jiang Heng. I hope you'll look after me from now on. Taking the girl's soft little hand, Jiang Heng smiled back. Likewise. Half an hour later, at the back row of Class 12A1, when the teacher announced the end of class, Jiang Heng rubbed his slightly aching head. Just as he had predicted, the teaching pace of school number 1 compared to school number 2 is indeed much tougher. Especially in an elite class like A1, this was more evident than ever. Jiang Heng just felt like he'd seen all the bits of knowledge the teacher just taught, but they didn't seem to recognize him at all. By the way, whether it was fate or Xia Wanking's intentional arrangement, his former fiancée, was always involved with Liu Zixin, Len Qingqiu, turned out to be studying in this class too. However, her seat was in the front row, while Jiang Heng sat proudly in the very last row. Due to the heavy pressure of the upcoming college entrance exam and the fact that everyone already had their own cliques, no one took the initiative to talk to the two newcomers. This question. Just as Jiang Heng was about to put away his exercise book, a sweet voice mixed with a bit of concern suddenly sounded from beside him. Looking toward the source, he met a pair of eyes that were jet black, clear, and incredibly bright. When meeting Jiang Heng's gaze, Shen Yushu didn't shy away. On the contrary, she gave a slight smile, then pointed to a question in the exercise book. The way to solve this question is wrong. The girl rested her left hand on the desk, supporting her chin. Her beautiful peach blossom eyes narrowed into a smile as she looked at the young man. Her adorable chubby cheeks further enhanced her pure beauty, slightly melancholic yet full of radiance, like a flower in full spring bloom. What's wrong? Noticing the boy staring at her, Shen Yushu shyly lowered her head, asking softly, "Did I say something wrong?" Oh no, this female lead is definitely addictive. How can she be this charming? Pressing his lips together awkwardly, Jiang Heng quickly thought of something and pointed to the exercise book on the desk. You're absolutely right. Okay. Could you please explain this question to me? Sure. Shen Yushu looked up again, reaching for her own exercise book and placing it between them. Perhaps having entered teaching mode, the young girl's mind was entirely focused on tutoring Jiang Heng. Thus, the awkward atmosphere between them also gradually vanished. It must be admitted that Shen Yushu taught in great detail. Every time she wrote a step, she patiently explained its principle and logic. It's roughly like this. Do you understand? After calculating the final answer, Shen Yushu looked up again, looking at the boy beside her. Meeting the girl's expectant gaze, Jiang Heng nodded as if he understood perfectly. I get it. It's not like he could admit. He was just so dazed by her beauty that he barely heard a word, right? Seemingly hearing the guilt in his voice, Shen Yushu covered her mouth, smiling with narrowed eyes and suggested softly, "How about I help you with some extra tutoring?" Jiang Heng didn't answer immediately. He thought for a moment, weighing the choice between studying hard and receiving fatherly love from old Jiang, and decisively chose the former. Once he'd made up his mind, Jiang Heng reached out and patted Shen Yushu's head, then said seriously, "In exchange for your tutoring, as long as I'm here, no one will be able to bully you. Regarding studies, for subjects like literature or biology, one can still cram to pass, but for subjects like math or physics without anyone to teach, relying solely on oneself to figure it out is truly a huge waste of time. As for Shen Yushu's status as the female lead, who cares? The system is given up anyway, and there's no rule saying the real young master can't treat the female lead normally. Not to mention with a Shen Yushu, who is a bit soft and innocent, being with her will surely be quite interesting." The reason he added that last part was because while walking down the hallway today, he saw that female upperclassman leader from the other day, following the typical tropes of real versus fake master stories, plus Shen Yushu's gentle, easily bullied personality. Those people were just cannon fodder appearing to bully the lead, helping her and that fake master build up their feelings in the early stages. Feeling the warmth of the hand on her head, Shen Yushu blushed, looking up slightly at the boy in front of her, and asked timidly, "Do you mean you want to protect me? Like a few days ago? What do you think?" Looking into the girl's eyes that seemed to hold a whole sky of bright stars, Jiang Heng patted his arm playfully. "Just follow this, big brother, and I guarantee every day of yours will be filled with joy. It's already the last semester of grade 12, and soon it will be the college entrance exam that decides the fate of most students. As long as one isn't insane, no one wants to cause trouble right now. So within this school scope, protecting this innocent female lead wouldn't be difficult at all. That I'll rely on you from now on." During the conversation, a radiant smile appeared on Shen Yushu's face. This innocent little girl must have been bullied quite a lot in the past, right? Thinking back to the common tropes in novels, a complex, indescribable emotion flickered in Jiang Heng's eyes. Just as he was about to say something, the originally quiet classroom suddenly erupted in shouts of surprise. Look! Liu Zishen is visiting Len Qingqiu again." At the classroom door, Liu Zishen walked in carrying milk tea, then waved to someone outside. "Indeed. What's more, I've prepared milk tea for everyone. Consider it a gift for everyone, to mark the start of the new semester." As soon as he finished speaking, the whole classroom immediately became lively. Simultaneously, the students kept shouting praises, saying things like, "Young Master Liu is so generous." Looking at the crowd flattering him, a beaming Liu Zishen carried a cup of milk tea and walked over to Leng Qingqiu's side. "Qingqiu, this is your favorite flavor." Although he had been kicked out of the Liu family, he hadn't entirely lost hope of returning. Yesterday, the eldest miss called him, saying that once she finished her overseas project, she would return to settle this matter for him. Not only that, she also transferred 500,000 yuan in pocket money to Liu Zixin. With this money in hand, Liu Zixin naturally began to enjoy his luxurious lifestyle again, just like before. After all, when he had to leave the Liu family, he had absolutely no right to take anything with him. The Liu family had also frozen all of his bank cards. If it weren't for this large sum of money, he might have had to sell off some of the designer items he managed to stuff into his suitcase earlier. As for Leng Qingqiu, after several days of using all sorts of clinging tricks and various tactics, he had also successfully erased the negative impacts from the previous incident. At least on the surface, Leng Qingqiu had returned to her previous attitude toward him. He came here with such a grand display today, not only to continue pleasing Leng Qingqiu, but also to find a way to deal with Jiang Heng.